That I've been meaning to do a little bit of chit-chat about here for a while. The Webasto ThermoPro 90, which is my diesel furnace for the boat. 40,000 BTU hydronic diesel furnace. As a boat builder and marine installer, I install all sorts of different brands of diesel furnaces for the Chinese knockoffs and the rest. The S-bars too. But there are enormous advantages to the Webasto furnaces, and for myself, I wouldn't install anything else. It's important to realize that any of these kinds of forced diesel air pot type burners, there is a heating element in here. So it is a mineral felt type, and then there's a fan that drives the combustion chamber. They all work in the same principle. What is commonly not known about these furnaces is that they have about 1,000-hour maintenance cycle, meaning that at some point within 1,000 hours you're going to have to take this thing apart and at least clean out or decoke that burner. Now, the other brands are extremely difficult to service. The Webasto, the control head comes off with a button, you have 2 screws, you have this ring coupler, and you're there. Literally, you can strip and service this unit in 15 minutes. If there's a problem with the unit, this on switch here, which illuminates when you start it, will give you a diagnostic code whereby then you could either determine which system in the unit has a failure profile. I find them to be spectacular, and again, having dealt with all of them, I prefer these. They're a little noisy. I'll start it for you here. This one is just about getting to the point where it needs a little service, so part of the reason I want to start it is so that you can hear what that sounds like. Why? The reason that they need service, again, is that you use certain additives in diesel fuel. Not all of those additives burn very well. They're in there for the purpose of adding lubricity to the fuel so it preserves the diesel engine. Now, none of that's necessarily good for the furnace. Just ends up being a fact of life. It's worth avoiding biodiesel blends and certainly any kind of top cylinder lubricant in the season where you might be using the furnace a lot more than the main engine. So just be aware of that. It's not going to hurt anything, but certainly if you're using it a great deal and you're burning a lot of those fuels, you will be servicing this unit more frequently than not. 1,000 hours doesn't take that long in the winter if you're living aboard. It means that you're probably going to break it down at least once during the winter. I actually, just in anticipation of that, I carry 2 burner sets so that on a cold, snowy day when it doesn't want to start, I can swap out one, you clean it, and replace it immediately with one that's already prepped and ready to go. I recommend that. Carry a couple spare parts. Heating sensors, blow-off sensors, stuff like that. Otherwise, they're very robust. They've been making these for years. It's basically a Mercedes diesel truck block heater. They work fine. Anyway, we'll start her up. And you'll see that the light comes on here in a second. Ta-da! And you probably can hear this. So what it's doing right now is it's cycling water to ensure that there is no vapor locks in the hydronic shell here, because of course you would have a potential to overheat if there were air residual in this. And you can tell if you've got any of that problem because the pump will start to cavitate a little bit, but here you can see that it's running quite quietly and smoothly. Okay, that test is complete. So now what's happening is the fan has started. You can hear that. There'd be a slight tick-tick of an injection pump starting, and the glow plug starts to heat, which you'll hear it kind of start to lug a little bit because of the current draw of the glow plug. Glow plug pulls about 20 amps when it starts. The run amperage of the heater is about 4 amps. So we'll hear it in a second. Now this won't start super smoothly because the burner's a little dirty. We'll hear this in a moment. Okay, you may be able to hear the Fuel pump going tick, 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 tick. Fan starting. There's the lugging because of the glow plug starting. Oh, actually it fired right up. Alright, well anyway, that's about all there is to it. So I install basically all these types. I really recommend this. I've got a 45-foot sailboat. This furnace with about 50 feet of radiator keeps everything completely warm and dry, and it's like life would be just completely rotten without it. So, cheers.